I'm filling in what you, neutral film horror. Neutral film horror music. Neutral film.
Documentary, no music change. It was the same. And there won't be any change.
Like what you're doing, I think the problem here is that you have some cells hypothesized, but not all of them, and so it's not gelling. Like, but I'm.
Because we separated the two. We had the stressful film and the neutral film. And we weren't comparing in between them, we were just comparing the music types within each film type. So it wasn't like documentary had the lowest out of the 6, it was...
Okay, but that's not how you analyze the data, you looked for interactions. So that's kind of why this, you very early on, before when you were planning your study, I diagrammed this on the board. And so, okay, so let's think about this. For the stressful film, you think stress is going to be highest for horror, lowest for documentary, and then in between for neutral?
Neutral for horror music, or for the... Neutral for the stressful film would go up slightly. And then...
And documentary and stressful would go down?
Yes.
Okay. So
neutral,
your pattern here is a lot up, a little up, and down.
Yes.
And then, so for neutral...
It was a lot up, no change.
And then what did you predict here?
I can't remember, did we say, we said there wasn't going to be a difference between no music and documentary music in the neutral film condition. So either it would stay the same or they would both go down a little bit. I don't remember which one exactly we said though.
So, sorry, I still don't, what are you predicting here? This is, so you think horror music is gonna, here's the thing. The horror music in the stressful film, you'd have the biggest increase here. You'd have an increase here with the neutral film, but probably not as big, okay? Then if you have, the stressful music's gonna cause an increase in stress, but this is neutral music, you're gonna have no change, okay? Then documentary music with stress, so even with a stressful film, you think documentary music is going to bring people down. And a neutral film with documentary music has no effect. Is that correct?
Yes.
Repeat that last thing that you said.
Neutral, documentary music, neutral film has no effect.
Right. And documentary music, or no music, neutral film, no effect.
Okay. Okay. So, you have to communicate this, but it's not getting across here.
Okay.
And this is difficult, I know, and I don't know how to tell you, I can't say this is the way to do it, because clearly, here's the thing, I'm having trouble getting it. I did not get this from that, and it just took us that much time to figure it out. So this is a challenge. Here's a suggestion, break this down, okay? Maybe what you should do is have one slide, if you want to break this down like this, have one slide that just talks about the effects of the music types on the stressful film, and then there's 3 points. And then a second slide that talks about the hypotheses of the effects of the music on the neutral film. Because you really need to explain what you predict for each cell. Does that make sense? And then you're sort of chewing it up a little bit for the audience so they can digest it. And then you can say, our first 3 hypotheses are specifically about how we think the music is going to affect the horror film. The next 3 hypotheses on this next slide are about how we think the music is going to have an effect on stress when we have a neutral film. And then you can cover all these bases. You think that? What do you think about that, you guys? Do you think that would be more digestible?
Sorry, say that again.
Because once you go through that, it's like you're repeating the other 3 every time you say a different one.
It's just
It
a
just
matter
gets
of how you
confusing.
hand it to them.
I think that really simplifies it though.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
agree.
I mean, you know,
I don't know how to like finish it though.
yeah, but if graphs are good to help, but if you put that up now, the audience will think it's data.
Yeah, true.
But right, yeah, so. Yeah, basically,
Would it be like up and then
it's like
Flat.
up,
flat?
it's kind of like this. Up, up,
Julianne, does that make sense?
and then down like that.
Do you
And
think
then
that's
it's
easier, or do you think that's gonna complicate it?
down,
From
down.
For the
this
neutral?
graph,
Yeah.
it's gonna make it way
Is
easier.
it down,
Okay.
down or down
I just wanna
flat?
make sure you're okay with saying it like that, and I won't make it hard. Paper
That
airplane,
was valid.
I just make
Okay,
it hard.
but
a valid
I actually think, all right, I actually think if you just break down, because I mean, you don't want to emphasize, start predicting interactions anyway, because you didn't find any. But I think if you just break this down film by film, and like, you know, hypotheses, and these are the, and then you can have regarding the stressful film, 1, 2, 3, and then hypotheses regarding the neutral film, 1, 2, 3. And then you're covering all cells of that design, so. All right, okay,
Next slide.
yep.
I messed up my chart.
Okay, yeah, you just know you have to have horror here, right? And like a comma here. Grammar police. Okay, all right,
Oh, oops, sorry.
okay. You know what would be cute? A little inset picture of the cuff to cover the ugly computer.
But that was part of it. The computer's part of it.
Yeah, but it's up there. Everyone's gonna look at the video.
But that's
It's
the
a
monitor.
very specific computer
I thought that we were
tower
supposed to
that
show,
doesn't
like-
exist anywhere else.
But where's the cuff?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you don't have to do it, it's just a suggestion.
Oh, so you can even
That's
stick
why
it,
I did have pictures of everything, but it got all taken.
you could stick it like right there, if you wanna still show the.
Yeah.
It's gonna look really.
I mean, look, I'm just saying, a computer tower is a computer tower.
See, I thought we were including like all of that because that was part of our materials was our computer and our monitor because everything was like run off of the computer. That was
Yeah, but
what
then
I-
I just need to see one.
Okay.
It's a suggestion,
Okay.
you don't have to add it, if you have time to get a picture, you can even look online, like search 1130 model number, and you'll probably just,
Yeah,
and then you can just,
because I had
you
one on
put
there before.
the picture on top of picture, but it's up to you, I'll leave it up to you.
Because we mentioned it at the bottom, that's why.
Right, and that's why I was thinking if it's inset right here,
And wouldn't even have to mention it, just
well, you can mention it, but then you can say,
or like
it's
not
just
mention,
here.
but like not have it actually on the slide anymore. Just have the
Keep it,
picture
you're
of it.
fine, no, you're fine there, yeah, but it's just, you know, kind of illustrated, you know, cause that's your main DV getter, so,
Okay.
you know. Let's see, alright, what else, okay, and then, okay, the videos. You definitely do have to warn people about the gore. I didn't see any fingers flying though, it's
No.
like, I was
We
horrified,
started
but
at a
it's
random
like,
place, and so there could have been fingers
Yeah.
flying.
okay.
So should,
there
I
gonna
guess I'll
be-
just do one that isn't gory. Is that like the best idea?
No,
Or?
you just need to
Is
warn
there
them.
gonna be,
You just
Yeah.
need to warn.
Well, yeah, and
Yes.
what you can do,
Yes.
Sarah, is you
Warn
can get
them.
the URL, so it'll say, like, you can
Start
copy
this at
URL, start at current time,
Yeah.
so you can choose the time that it starts at.
I was gonna say, is there gonna be time beforehand for us to like pull up the
Yeah. Maybe
videos,
some
or does it
mild
need to be
gore.
already ready on
Because
the?
that was the most awkward thing
Um,
like of my entire life.
Yeah, this is, if you
Yeah,
can
don't raise yourself,
somehow, it
fingers
was a
flying,
little
it's not
kind of,
maybe impaled
it was a
then.
little kind of crazy,
Yeah.
like going, you know, closing your show and going to YouTube. Ideally, and
You
I'm
can
not
insert
real
videos.
good at that, but yeah, you should be able to click that 3 and it should play, if that's possible. I don't know how to
That
do
would be
that.
ideal.
Well, that's what I did with the music clip, I just made it roll tiny. You
Right.
have to embed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say embedded. Okay.
Yeah.
So-
And then I think, like, you know, when you may have to, this is why it is gonna, with these clips, it's gonna be important to be in the room and practice to make sure that they work on the computer, so get there before, one of you gets to get there before the session and test it out, but yeah, it was a little, it's cumbersome for you, and the audience is kind of like, what is going on?
Plus I'm like technologically
And then there's
challenged, so
there's
it's awkward.
advertisements and everything, there's this woman like this, it was kind of, so,
Did not help.
so, yeah, if you can somehow embed the clips, that would be better, that would
Like
work
have it
better.
as a whatever file, like, yeah.
Yeah. But they do illustrate the conditions very well. The only thing you need to do is warn about gore, if there's some gore. and then also introduce the clips. Like you described all your conditions, which was fine, but then you went to show the clips, and so you want to stop and say something like, what I'm going to show you now is a clip of this particular condition, and then the next clip is of this particular condition. You know, that kind of thing.
I thought they did do that.
It was for me, the perception was you went through the conditions very well, but then you started moving around to show the videos, and I kind of was like, you know, you just make sure you transition, you know, or even talk about the first two conditions, and then the third condition was stressful film, horror music, and we have an example of that, and show it right there. And then say the fourth condition was neutral and documentary, we have an example of this one, and then our other two conditions were. So, you know, as you read the conditions, stop and do the clip, and then continue. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
A little more kind of seamless there. Okay.
Yes.
And I like the eagle pride. It's kind of a happy accident there, right?
So do you think, because I'm kind of hesitant to show the actual like gore part, like do I need to say anything about gore, like if I just like show like part of the clip that's not
I think what you can do, honestly, is probably not show gore, because it's, you know, you might freak someone out, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like,
I really don't
Well, and I think the actual like scariest parts of the music were not in. It didn't line up with like the
Right.
gore part.
But y'all thought it was.
What I would do is you really need to take a moment to describe, and maybe Julianne will do this, but you need to tell them this stressful film was actually a film of industrial accidents. These are the kinds of things that were portrayed in that film. Someone lost a finger, this happened, and so you kind of describe that it was gory to them, but you don't show them the gore. But you
so
can
like
still give them a clip.
Before I show them the clip, I just like say.
Or this is, remember I said that Julianne should describe the Thayer and Levinson study
Right,
in more detail, so she could describe that industrial accidents film in more detail. And then you could maybe, because the neutral clip is new, you could handle the neutral clip or something like that, you know? You know, just, and then you would say that the stressful clip we used was the same one that Julianne described that was used by Thayer and Levinson, and then we chose to add to our study, our new wrinkle was, because you're going to emphasize that in the intro and then again here, we added a neutral clip, and our neutral clip was scenes from planet Earth, blah, blah, blah. You know, and you can describe what a couple of the scenes, we had a picture of the Earth, we had some, you know, forest type landscapes, and you give kind of a couple examples of the
It's the
content.
moon, the night, and you know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, next. Okay, you're missing an R squared.
Darn. Okay.
Good catch.
Hawkeye. All right. Oh, that's nice. You found a clip that kind of complements the heart.
You get it?
I like that.
I didn't want to use the same one, but I didn't
Right.
know how to like
No, that's good. Yeah. And let me see. Okay, I think that was it. This one was fine. I mean, there's not much to say, right?
No, there's really not.
Okay.
They look good.
This sucker, you can get rid of this because it's kind of redundant
Okay.
with what you're saying and what's up here. It's actually a main, you know, like what you have written here should be the title here. Main effect of blood pressure on
Okay.
time. Of time on blood pressure, okay? And also, I would, you know, you've got a little more room to move here. I would drag it by a corner so you don't distort. But once you get rid of this is gonna be fuller. And then you make the graph big, you know, make it bigger. That's all I would suggest. All right, next.
It was really hard to find things to say about the results.
I know. All right, good. Okay, so discussion.
Yeah.
I felt like I could really mess it up.
Well, it must have been nice.
I'm sorry.
So here it would be no main effects of music type, no main effects of film type. No, actually, no. No, that's right, effects, but there are,
Yeah, I
you
was
have
like
to do
debating
plu-
that
you
as I
have
was
to do
typing, I was
plural
like-
here, because you have main effects of music type on heart rate and blood pressure, so it's main effects. So pluralize that. Also, you can say no, add a third point that is no significant interactions, right? Because that's also conclusion. You know, and you can do there were no interactions of any kind, so you can just say no significant interactions. And then, you know, no, I would put this first. No convincing main effects of time. put that first, then it's like, so we did find this one thing, but it wasn't convincing, and then we found nothing else, which is basically what you're saying. So add something about interactions and go 1, 2, 3, and then 4 would be interactions. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to remember what you said. Okay. So the only thing here is I still don't like that last bullet. It just doesn't
Okay.
seem to fit to me. And I know we
Yeah.
talked about that last class. So, because I think you said something like the fact that time was significant, if I quote you correctly, proves that the manipulation was poor. And I don't get that at all. How does that, first, I just don't understand how that proves your manipulation was poor.
I mean, because we predicted there would be some increases.
Yeah, and because it all decreased.
They just
We were saying
there
that that was
overall.
because the videos were too long and they got used to it, so their blood
Yeah,
pressure
okay.
That's how I got to the whole.
decreased.
You need to explain this because that was not in your talk, okay?
I think I forgot to say it. I was just like,
Okay.
I was like,
So
okay.
if you
Next slide.
forgot to say it, you know, in the beginning, feel free to rely on your notes more
Yeah.
and then practice, but you've gotta get that stuff in your notes. You really need to work from a script and then have that script become more rote. Let's see. I think earlier about this, you said something about, oh, well, skin conductance was better because they measured it continuously, and you almost said something on the order of, well, you can't do that with heart rate and blood pressure. You can. We
Is
didn't
there-
because you're using cuffs, but you can measure
I-
heart rate, and you
Yeah,
can do an
with a
EKG.
I had
Yeah,
it
so I
done,
mean, yeah, you wanna say, because we used cuffs and measured heart rate and blood pressure discreetly with the cuffs, we may have been unable to capture the effect that L&T captured with skin conductance, which can be measured continuously, which was measured continuously. But heart rate and blood pressure can surely be measured continuously, just not with a blood pressure cuff.
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
That was-
So, and I think you know that, you
Mhm.
just have to watch your wording,
Yeah.
is all, okay? All right,
What does the first bullet
Good.
point mean?
which one, video too long
No,
or skin
just
conductance?
like their Levinson significance.
Right, that's a good point. I think Erin's right, like, I think, yeah, you say, I think you mean to say Thayer and Levinson found a significant effect of music type. We
Mhm.
did not.
I just
And
don't want to write that all out. I don't know. I guess.
But I think,
Wait.
but this
Do we
Thayer
mention
and,
it? I think
Thayer and Levinson's significance does not make sense.
Okay.
Significance of what? Between, of
Are
what
you
on
saying
what?
they used skin conductance as a measure and they got significant results from that?
Yeah, I
measure?
think you were trying to compare the fact that we used heart rate and blood pressure and they used skin conductance, and
Okay.
Right.
we
Yeah,
think
so
that's
just
why
needs to
they
be,
found
like,
significance
put
and we
in a
did
better
not.
way.
Because by itself, it's like,
Yeah.
what is
But
that
I
even?
think you do need to say something like Thayer and Levinson, year, 1983.
Dang, I backspaced
Right?
that.
Thayer
Everything
and
you're saying, I like
Levinson,
backspace. Like, I doubted myself. Damn.
Well, that's why we're
Yeah.
going to put it back in. Thayer and Levinson found, or something like, I mean, if you don't want to say something that long, but I don't know, it isn't enough what you have there.
Should we make it like a comparison?
I would just, Thayer and Levinson
Just rewrite
found a
it.
significant effect of music type.
Okay.
And then measure colon skin conductance. And then you can talk about your study. We didn't find a significant effect of film type. We did use heart rate and blood pressure. And then again, say, although we expanded on their study by using a neutral film, we still didn't find significant effects of the film type, the music on the neutral film either. But I think you need to say what was significant in Thayer and Levinson's study. And I mean, even here, that's wrong enough. I think almost this bullet here, what's bothering me about this is it doesn't follow. Like video manipulation was not strong enough, because the video was too long, because the stressful film was not stressful enough, because time was significant. It just doesn't fit, it doesn't parallel the other points. I think, and also you would wanna say time, it's like main effect of time on heart rate, it's not enough information here. So, I don't know if you just wanna describe that verbally, you know, but you can't just write time was significant, it's not.
So I think we can
Because
get rid of that bullet.
Yeah, we already talked
Yeah,
about it.
we can get rid of that bullet, and then when you talk about the video being too long, then you can say that's why we think we got a significant decrease in blood pressure and heart rate, or blood pressure over time.
Or
Just because
start,
the video
start
was
with
too
that,
long.
say, we think our manipulation wasn't strong enough, and one of the reasons we think this is cause, you know, if you remember, we got that unconvincing but significant main effect of time on blood pressure, which showed that overall, regardless of conditioning, blood pressure decreased. So we think that, you know, there wasn't any specific changes due to the film types or music types. Well, why was that the case? We think maybe the video wasn't too long, or the stressful film was not stressful enough. The other thing I asked you to do last class was, what about critiquing, you didn't find main effects of film type either. You know, so, I'm sorry, like the music type either, was your horror music not horrifying enough? You know, like, I mean, that's another, you know, here you're well critiquing your film type independent variable, but you're not critiquing your music type independent variable, which you also didn't find effects for, so clearly that wasn't strong enough either. So think about that as well.
Could we basically say the same thing about the music type with the video though, as well?
I don't
If
know.
that makes sense, because like if you listen to the horror music for 12 minutes, you're going to get used to it, or
and like falls and builds and falls.
yeah, you get, even though we described it as chaotic, you still get used to the chaos after a long enough period of time or something like that.
Habituate to the chaos, that's the point, it's not
Right.
linear.
I mean, what I was thinking, you could say, you know, film and video manipulation is not strong enough. But then it would have to be music and video too long. Stressful film and stressful music not stressful enough, but I don't know. I don't know if you have, I don't know if you have the same critiques for the two, but I do know that you don't have a significant effects for either variable. And so you might be able to link the lack of the video effect to, like, there may be similar reasons for the lack of effect of music type and film type, but I don't know if you should clump them all together, so I don't know.
I think something that can be pointed out about the video too is just like, it's old, it's in black and white, it's grainy,
Yes.
it's cheesy.
Yeah, and
Does
say,
it
and justify, we
stress
used it
out-
because we were trying to
Yeah.
connect to Thayer and Levinson's research, but it's
But would
actually,
it really stress out a modern audience?
Right.
Probably not.
I mean, wouldn't it might, so maybe you could also say video too long, you know, this is really qualifying why the stressful film wasn't stressful enough. It's not what people today think of as a horror film,
Yeah.
right? So that's another good point I think you can add verbally, but you don't have to necessarily, it's the point, the main idea is already on the slide. Are there any other slides?
Oh,
Yeah, limitations of future.
Future research.
All right, and I think that this was generally fine. The only general criticism I'll say is you kept saying this is really important and this is really important, but you really need to say why, right? Thoroughly explain, you know, cuff errors is obvious, discrete measurements, you know, again, why, you know, I mean, really think about it. How would continuous measurements have helped you? If you're really interested in change from before to after, there's nothing wrong with discrete measurements. You know, continuous measurements aren't the end-all be-all. So, I mean, again, you really have to, you know, because these are the things people are going to question you about. Well, okay, so, but if you were really looking at change from before to after, why do you really think continuous measurements would have been better for your study? Right? So you need to, if you justify in your talk why, you know, discrete measurements were a limitation, then that question is less likely to be posed. Do you see what I'm saying? So really, you need to have a clear explanation that we think one of our limitations was cuff errors, and you know, this was really important is fine, but you have to say why it was really important clearly, okay? And just make sure you do that for each of these points. like the short pre-baseline rest period, that's really important, but why, I mean, according to your main effect of time, at least on blood pressure, it did decrease, so, does that help you? Did you expect it to, I don't know, just make sure you qualify these points. And the whole group can work together to say, okay, why specifically is this limitation important? I think that's it. Oh, there's another one, okay. You have a question?
Oh, no, I was gonna say, I added like a thrown together diagram.
Okay, I'm
But,
sorry,
like,
can
no,
you just, let's
like,
just handle
no,
the
it's
last
gonna be-
slide
yeah.
before we,
And then just like refresh the page when you get out of it.
okay, I mean, again, same thing, these all kind of make sense, you really did a good job, since last class, like making them parallel and all kind of fitting under future research, the slide looks good. The only one I meant like manipulate videos properly to fit studies methods, I forgot what you said, frankly, and I didn't really know what that meant.
I guess because I thought that you couldn't really measure heart rate and blood pressure during, so I guess that sort of cancels out the last bullet, since I know now that
Like
you
make
can.
the video, like when you were talking about making the
Yeah.
videos shorter,
Yeah.
or changing the videos to make them more stressful for like modern day horror movies.
Okay, I think you can state that better
Okay.
and use a different phrase here, and maybe your group can help you with that. Alright, so you wanted to go back, oh, well, I know I've hogged this completely and totally, and so I'll give you all a chance for feedback.
No. I added 2 slides down at the bottom. Is that clearer, more helpful, not helpful, wrong, etc.?
What do you guys think?
It's better than
Is it fugly?
was.
Like,
Is it
I think words are okay and clearer.
I like that in conjunction with words. Though.
Yeah.
Okay, that help though.
Yeah, the dash is like
Would that be
ambiguous.
more helpful. Okay.
NA.
And
I would
Nothing?
go with words, just
Okay.
keep those.
I don't like the
Well, if you have
I
the
do
arrow and then
too,
you
but
say
I
stress
don't
goes
think
up.
this is enough, and you don't wanna have both. Both is too much.
Okay.
no,
I
that's
think,
fine.
I agree with what you're saying, that both is great together, but this is 12 minutes here, we gotta,
Yeah.
so I think stick with the verbal,
Okay.
but just break it up into 2 slides like you have.
Okay. Got it.
Alright, so I totally hogged that feedback session, so do you guys have other points? Allison can flip through the slides again. Connor?
So also for the reason that you guys like arguing for continuous variables is because like the scary music didn't align with the gore like per se, because like is that why you wanted the skin conductance and not BP?
Well, we had originally talked about making, like, if we had made the video shorter, it might have helped, but also seeing, like, when the jumps were in the music, and then seeing if heart rate and blood pressure went up then, would
Okay.
also have, like, shown if it really affected it or not.
Because that wasn't really mentioned in the presentation, I don't think.
Well, there are like more jumps in the film, I guess, than me. Sometimes there'll be jump in film, like the finger coming off or something like that. I remember they mentioned that in the study too. I think they noted when those were, and they saw the
They had
spikes.
it marked in their like skin in
So
their
the event marked, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a good rationale for going continuous then, so that you could link specific events in the NSAA horror film to.
And then also for the main effect of time on blood pressure, is that what it was?
Yes.
Were there follow-up tests, and if so?
No,
what
it was
were
because
they?
we only had before and after,
Yeah.
so it
Okay.
was just, that's why we only have just the 2 points, and we just looked at it and we saw that it went down,
Okay.
so.
Barely.
Barely, yes. You can see that it
But
changed between 75 and 80,
I'm kind of
so-
crossing my fingers that if you get rid of this and go like that, maybe it'll go.
I was gonna say.
Well, I can make the error bars also,
Maybe
like,
that.
it's at 60 right now, but I can make it like 62, and then I can make the top one like 93 or something, and like
Yeah.
add that 5. I was trying my best to make it look like an actual graph
Just,
without
yeah, I
making
know.
it look.
This
without-
pig needs lipstick.
It's a rough graph, but I think taking out the title will also
Yeah.
help too, because it'll allow
It'll
for more
unsquash,
space.
it's squashed
Yeah.
right now, which is making your line go like that, it's
Yeah.
squashing your line.
It'll
down.
allow for more
Slow it
space in
down.
It'll
between
milk.
each increment, so.
Is that ethical? No.
Other, suggestions for this group?
I'm trying to remember your exact wording because I just really don't remember exactly what you said, but when you were on this slide, you were saying, I don't know how this is actually significant, but it is. And I thought to myself, maybe sound a little bit more confident in what you're saying
Yeah.
and straight
I
away from
was-
the
I'm
I
gonna back her up on
I
that
don't
one.
know phrase, just because you sounded like you weren't quite sure of yourself, but be sure of yourself.
Just say, to phrase it the way Madeline's suggesting, you say, this is a significant effect, however, I'd like to remind you that the effect size is very small. The effect size was 0.07.
So it's not-
It's very small effect size.
Yeah.
So this may be real, but it's not convincing, which is the
Yeah.
terminology that Sean uses, so.
Okay.
0.07, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was 0.07. Yes.
I don't know if you guys have talked about this or not, but go to your first thing.
The very first slide?
I don't know, I find the large font that's in your titles, I know it corresponds with like the horror thing, but that's distracting to me. Personally, I like the cleaner cut presentations. I'm not sure if that's like a thing at Sci-Chi that we can get a little crazy with our things. Maybe.
So you don't like the font size
I-
or the
no,
font
no,
style?
the font style. The font
Is
style.
it, do you think it's okay with these headers, like, these other headers?
I think that's where they bother me more. I think I just wanted to see the first part.
Like you're saying, it should set a more
It should be the same
professional
font.
tone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's studies about horror.
So,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah,
okay
we're-
though, but that's,
no.
Mela, I'm asking like, that's okay, cause I like that, but
Yeah,
I'm
it
just
is.
thinking like professionally.
I think it's not, I think it works because it fits with the content of the study.
Okay.
Like, it's got that old school kind of like Hitchcocky,
Okay.
you know, but
Alright.
I hear your concern that, you know, this is supposed to be professional looking and not cute fonts and stuff, but because of the context of the study, with any other context study, it probably wouldn't
Okay.
fly.
Alright, then, that's fine.
Like, it'd look weird with the food thing, right?
Right,
But,
that was a hard one. Feast on bread.
any other feedback for this group?
The ums.
Yeah, just as far as like presentation mechanics, use like good transitions between each point. So it's not like so, like that kind of thing. I do it a lot too though.
And it goes
It's
away
hard.
with practice,
Yeah.
it's just, you know.
Yeah, and I also know we're practicing, and I know that we'll probably do it in our group, and you guys might do it, but like, if you're not looking at like your notes, you were looking at the slides, and there was like very little like out here contact.
Yeah.
Like, if you have what's on the slide like in your notes too, then you shouldn't have to like look back up to it. But I know that
You
we'll
print
probably
the
all do that
PowerPoint
too while we're
part that has
practicing.
a lot that allows you to have notes under it.
Yeah.
You won't keep
So, like,
looking back.
It was
You'll
either
have it in front of
notes or slides, notes or slides. So.
You can print PowerPoints with like 3 slides on the left and then space for notes, if that helps, you know. You can go up with whole sheets, it doesn't, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, marry you to index cards or anything like that, but, you know, if that helps. See, this is the benefit to having only one group go today, you guys got,
Yeah.
you get grilled the entire class.
The benefit.
Better, worse,
Better.
ugly,
Definitely better.
dumb,
Super attractive.
like, you tell me. So.
So what about like,
Pressure is, like,
let's just
floating.
simplify it now,
Yeah, I know,
okay?
pressure is like floating in
Yeah.
that one.
So horror music,
Which bothers me.
increased heart rate and blood pressure. Cause you don't wanna say significant, right? It's obviously significant. So documentary music, decreased heart rate and blood pressure. Neutral music, no change in heart rate and blood pressure. That one's, so just get rid of the significance and then you won't have the wraparound on the second point either, which looks weird.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
But oh my gosh, yeah, that's an improvement, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're breaking it down for the listener. You're giving them smaller chunks to chew on.
Did you just do the one slide?
No, I did both.
Jeez, Julian, be consistent.
Yeah, no, I just changed it.
Now, here's the other thing you could do, okay? Instead of heart rate and blood pressure, you could just say stress. And then you could make this font a little bit bigger because I think it's smaller than your other slides. Right? And then you've got like these quick and dirty and then verbally you can say, obviously stress was measured using heart rate and blood pressure. And then you've got just three little nuggets to chew on each slide, and this is completely understandable.
Understandable, yes. What'd you say?
So here, get rid of the significant. I mean, if you're working on it, and then just
Yeah.
put stress,
I
stress,
just
stress.
fixed it, so if you go back to the stressful flow. There we go. Do you want me to get rid of the italics? Is that bothering you guys?
No, I like that.
That's good. But again, you can just, instead of this, you just say increase stress. Stress, 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 and then you can make your font bigger. You know, you can make your font size here match this font size, right?
I can make what mid.
So you
Yeah,
see
so
this
it's
font
bigger
size
than
here,
that,
you can make sure the font style and size match on all what's on the other slides.
It's not fun for one day.
It is only 7:11. We still have 4 minutes of heat to take.
No.
I'm dreading this all day.
I have a patient, I'm a procrastinator.
Alright, any other feedback for this group?
You guys did an amazing job. You're fantastic people, and you were at 11 minutes and 19 seconds. That's pretty hell awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good time.
So don't rush at your talk and be done in like 8.
Keep in.
Because I just feel like we just added so much stuff.
Yeah, that's
we have to
yeah, I mean-
say.
That's good, that's
Feel
good.
bad, though.
Well, you have the time, which
Yeah.
is good, okay?
Yeah.
And then you just have to decide on the time of your clips, how long, you know,
I
ask.
think 15 seconds should be
Sufficient.
enough if we can find a peak in the war music
Peek in the music and peek in the video.
and yeah.
Well, not in the video.
No, I think it's the music that at this point.
Yeah,
just for sake of purposes.
I like where we randomly had it.
Yeah, that was
Pretty
good.
point in the
It was a
music,
very
and it
violin-y
looked like
part.
something was gonna happen.
Yeah, I was looking for a finger to fly.
Yeah.
I was a little
I
scared.
think that one shows the correct way you're supposed to do it.
I do not want to lose a finger.
Wait, so what did people do when they watched this? Were they like actually okay, or?
I think it's like, yeah. Like who's sitting there
I think they got
recording
used
these
to it
things
after,
knowing
like,
that they're
you
gonna
know.
happen?
Oh no, I meant like your participants. Are
No,
they
they're.
They were all
Nobody
fine.
was bothered by anything, and also we told them that there was going to potentially be
I had one girl say that she got really
Okay.
stressed out because the music freaked her out, so I was like,
Yeah, I did have one. I had.
You
remember one
needed like
person-
10 more of her, but.
Yeah, no. But
I had
also
one
the
person
people-
tell me in the neutral film stressful music condition that it really stressed him out because he was like, I was really waiting for something to happen and it just kept being nature scenes. Like
Yeah.
he was like it was very
The
discordant. 'cause
expectation, yeah.
Meanwhile, we had the people in the no music condition who would be like,
It was so annoying. And it was always
I can't hear anything.
they
And
would,
we'd be
yeah, they
like,
would come out and we'd have to like restart them, and so
and
they
then
would
we'd
get back
like
on the
black
baseline.
out their data and be like,
and it was always my person.
It
That only happened to me.
Even when we told them ahead of time, alright, there may be no music, and then they come
Oh,
out,
yeah, really? I was
there's no
gonna say.
music.
My headphones aren't working. No, you're not supposed to hear music.
say like musical dissonance
oh yeah, dissonance.
or some, but
That is
even
true.
then, like
I know.
I'm
a music
clashing.
person too, so
Yeah, I know. I didn't even.
I totally get exactly
yeah,
what
so
you're
we
talking
didn't
about,
really
but-
about it at all, but like clashing. I think
Yeah.
that kind of.
Yeah,
I can
look
hear
at
it
that.
on the range how it sounds.
That's
Yeah.
better, it's so digestible, and then you just make your font to match.
Turn the lights.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, just warning everyone before we die.
Thanks everybody.
Big fan.
At least I gave warning. I almost just
Okay,
flipped
that
it.
font matches now. That's the size of the other.
Really? It
Yeah,
looks
they're all
small.
on 24.
Alright, check your style, because that still doesn't, it doesn't look like the same font type.
Could
just make
this
that
be
one
bigger
bigger.
anyways because there's less words?
Yeah, there's less words, so I guess.
Can we